My phone didn't want to be outside, so if you've been tuning in, this should work. I wanted to hop on because I see myself as a leader in topics of sexual abuse and healing and how we respond to survivors and perpetrators and all of those ideas that have been flooding our news feeds and Facebook pages and social media and just all over this week. And I wanted to talk about it a little bit more because what's happening right now in our government is really a macrocosm of what happens every day for people in our country and all over the world. So it's important that we're seeing it that way, that it's really not a political thing. It is that, and I'm not going to take sides in this video. What I'm going to say is that sides don't matter. What it is that someone has come forward and said, this happened to me. And anytime anyone does that, our responsibility is to take them seriously and investigate. It is not to ask about what is their political agenda or why are they trying to ruin this man's life, because that's not okay. What that sends is a message of that what her experience is, or what she's saying her experience is not as important as the possibility that she has another agenda. It doesn't matter why she chose to talk about it now versus before. It matters that she is, and that we take it seriously. Because one of the things that abusers use as a tactic for people to not come forward and speak out is that no one will believe them. Or a form of gaslighting, of saying, that's not really what happened to you. What you're describing and feeling right now isn't real. And so if we respond by doing the exact same thing, we're at risk of re-traumatizing someone. We're at risk of doing the exact same thing that got them to this place. And I am not willing to take that risk. And I feel like it's really important that we talk about that being a risk, because it's never appropriate to respond to someone in that way. So due process is really important. And the other thing I wanted to say is I am so lucky to be leading a self-compassion series for these 6 days, because I've really, really needed it. Even though I have a lot of skills and I've worked through a lot of trauma, I still hear responses. Like as I was watching the hearings this morning and I was listening to some of the senators talk about wanting to give process and how the country seemed to be split apart. And it doesn't matter your party affiliation, but just in the way of honoring what's been said and wanting to have a legal system that the country stands for, that we would continue to investigate before taking a vote. A part of me felt like they were speaking directly to me. And if you are a survivor of sexual assault, and I know many of you are, I bet you had a similar experience, where finally someone saying this is worth our time and our energy and our effort to be looking at feels really good. When I drove past people who were picketing across Senator Gardner's office, I thought, wow, those people are willing to stand up for someone who has a situation similar to what I've experienced. And I kind of got a little teary-eyed when my brother commented on a post and said something that was really intelligent about how it was important for us to hear Dr. Ford out. I felt emotional, because we can't separate, as human beings, we're connected to everyone, and we can't separate my experience from your experience. That's part of what self-compassion is this human commonality and this community that we have, because we're all the same creatures on earth. And so when we tell on a national level a person who's coming out to talk about sexual assault that she matters and that investigation matters, then we tell everyone watching that their story matters. And that's so, so, so important. So there's a lot to unpack in there. One of which I wanted to say, if you are feeling a little bit emotional or connecting or triggered or whatever is coming up for you in this process of watching, you're not alone. Years ago, had this happened, I would have been distraught because I didn't have as many tools, or I wasn't as deeply healed as I am now, and that's okay. I still feel very emotional about it now. And so if that's a space that you are in, please know that it's okay to turn off your television. It's okay to head up into the mountains. It's okay to not talk to someone who you're not sure will get it. It's okay to reach out for help. It's okay to sign up for my self-compassion series, because this is what's so important right now, to be with yourself and to give yourself permission to take care of yourself first. That it's not selfish and that it's not self-centered. It is important, and you are important. And another thing I wanted to say is that ultimately the other side of this coming out is that people are talking about this. And I can't tell you how many times I have prayed and I have begged and I have wished so much, I'm feeling teary-eyed now, that we could have this conversation, because I knew how important it was, and I knew how many people it affected, and how we just kept being silent about it wasn't working. And now we are. So what a gift is that, to be able to say it's getting national attention. And yes, it's important how we respond, but it's also magical that it's happening, that it's coming to the forefront, that we can start having dialogue about it. How cool is that? And in the whole scheme of things, if someone isn't willing to hear you, if someone feels blaming, if someone isn't giving the respect and the space to have a civil dialogue, then there's as many people out there who are willing to. When I first started talking about my abuse publicly, or even with my family, it didn't really matter what their response was. It wasn't about being believed. It was that I knew what was true for me, and that I was going to speak out about it, and that I knew that there would be other people there that resonated with it, that it helped with. So just like that, the government is not who has the power here. The government is not who has the power here. It's everyday people like you and I. It's everyday interactions, and it's hearing people, and it's understanding better how to support better, how to change, how to talk about difficult subjects, how to have self-compassion skills, how to respond without blaming, but with getting more information about the situations, how to understand that sexual abuse feels like a lifelong sentence. I don't believe that it has to be, but I know that I would not be the same person had I not experienced sexual abuse. And I know that it affects people, and I know that it changes things, and I know that we spend time and energy and money on our health that if we didn't have these experiences, we probably wouldn't be spending. I know that it feels difficult to talk about that. So I just wanted to hop on and say, number one, you're invited to join us if you want some extra self-compassion. Number two, you are not alone, and there's a lot of people out there willing to support you. Number three, what a gift it is that we're having this dialogue. Whether you choose to be part of it or not is completely up to you. And to say that you're the one with the power. You're the one who knows your story. You're the one who knows what happened to you. You're the one who gets to decide what opinions matter. So don't give away that power. And if you feel a little powerless, reach out to someone that you know that is educated in these things. Ask for help. Call a number. Send me a message. Join our self-compassion group. There are resources out there, and you matter, and this matters. And I'm here with you. And I'm also going to be doing some fierce self-care this weekend. And I commit to continue to doing this work for the rest of my life because it's the most important thing that I can think of. I believe you.